All right. Test. Okay. All right. There's chocolate up front, so please help yourself if you want some. Thank Rizal. Please everyone give Rizal a round of applause. Please register for open forum if you want to speak. Before we get started, I do have a statement I want to read. I want to bring to this assembly's attention of an incident that happened last week. Last week, during the recess period of AB 5, a representative made a comment with respect to slavery, using the use of time it took for its abolishment in an effort to make an argument in favor of AB 5. As an assembly, it is, and as an individual representative of students here on campus, whether we are operating under formal business or informal business, we are to uphold the standards of decorum and good ethics. This comment was not only poor-mannered, but also minimizes the significance of slavery and the long, dark history of our nation's past. I'm deeply disappointed in the comment made by this representative, and I would encourage this person to hold themselves accountable and to make a conscious effort to apologize to the people who heard these comments. Lastly, on a final note, it is incumbent on everyone of this assembly to be conscious about their language and rhetoric. You are all occupying these positions for a reason. As a reminder, I am always available if you would like to discuss this matter further in private. With that, we'll go to open forum. And first up is Rizal. Next slide. Oh, next slide, sorry. Okay, one second, actually. Light it off.
We would like to acknowledge that we are meeting on Indigenous land. Moreover, we would like to acknowledge and pay our respects to the Kaniso Komikulo, Kualalikan, Cabo, Tonkawa, Comanche, Manapache, Alabama, Nashara, Kickapoo, Digo Pueblo, and all the American Indian and Indigenous peoples and communities who have been or have become part of these lands and territories in Texas, here on Turtle Island.
All right, next slide. All right, first roll call. I'm sorry, Rizal, you can sit down.
No, I'm just tired of stuff. Oh, are you yeah.
You toss me.
Pardon?
Can you film me a call?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. It's good too.
Oh, it's your.
No, it's good.
I just picked one at random.
No, it's good. It's good. Don't worry.
Are you fine with milk chocolate caramel?
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Melinda? Yeah, sorry.
How many people on Zoom?
You're right.
We're at 66%.
I think we're flirting on that right now. Melinda? Melinda?
It's 27.
Including me? All right, we have a quorum. I finally got my gavel today, but I had this because Ryan told me I didn't have it yet, so I thought this was fun. Okay, we have a quorum. The chair recommends a motion to approve the September 20th minutes. Is there a second? Is there any objections? Seeing none.
Point of information, or
Great.
what's the vote type?
Unanimous consent. Okay. Next slide. Okay, discussion guidelines. Respect, productiveness, inclusiveness. I kind of touched on this in the statement earlier. Please adhere to them. Next slide. Yeah, what? Okay. Let's go back to open forum. I don't know why it's not showing up.
Wait, it's definitely.
Isn't it special guest?
Yeah, I think that.
Okay. Okay, sorry. All right. We have a special guest, Gerald, who will be talking about the interest of parliamentary procedure. So, Gerald.
All right, so people have made it very clear that assembly can be very confusing. So this is my attempt to help provide the most clear and easy way to digest what the hell is going on. So let's start. What should you expect today? Motions, motions, and motions. Everything in this assembly revolves around motions. Without a motion, we can't do anything. Without a motion, we can't even be here. So let's go ahead and start. Oh yeah, but first, just always remember that like whenever you're gonna make a motion, you have to be recognized. So that can look like just raising your hand and the speaker calling on you. And when you are recognized, that just looks like representative. You say your first and last name, your position, and whatever you are intending to do. And the reason why we do this, including saying our own name and our own position, is for the purposes of the minutes, because it can be a lot to do, and sometimes the minutes or the clerks are just like flirting around with a lot of different things. So it's just the most effective and easiest way to provide information to them. Okay, so in all this should just like honestly be a reminder or like review at this point because you've been doing it for a while. There's 3 vote types. You have your unanimous consent, which if no one objects to, then it automatically passes the motion. Then you have a roll call where the clerk will call everyone's individual name. You have 3 options: vote yes, no, abstain, and lastly you have a hand vote, which I don't like, but I know people like it because it's easier. And then we used to have the proxy votes, but not anymore. Well, we don't have anymore, but it's just when like representatives weren't here, they could like email the speaker saying, "Hey, I won't be here, but like I went to vote yes on whatever resolution."
That doesn't exist anymore.
No, because the UTSG removed it.
Oh, that's dumb.
Anyway, so Robert's Rules of Orders simplified. So I'm just gonna go through some motions. The first thing is like fast tracking. So the formal language of a fast track is a motion to abridge the legislative process. This is an optional motion only if you're seeking to fast track, and this requires, I believe, 2/3 of all total representatives to pass. And additionally, before you can even have a motion to fast track, the speaker has to grant approval. Next, you have a motion enter debate. This is one of those rare motions that doesn't have a vote. It's just if you motion to do it, then we're doing it. And the speaker will make sure to assign both positions, the opposing and supporting position or opposition the same amount of speaking time. And then third one is you have a motion to amend. We've done many amendments before, so again, this is just review, but this is just a optional motion where with a simple majority you can change the language of any resolution and or bill. Oh, and just real quickly, every time again you're making motions, it's always in the same format, like representative, your name, position, and whatever your motion is, and then followed by your vote type. So next you have a motion to move the previous question. So before we can vote on something, we have to move the previous question. So essentially it's a vote to have the final vote. And this is just a simple majority motion. Then you have a motion to finally approve it, like to pass the bill or resolution. If it's a resolution, it just requires a simple majority. If it's a bill, which changes like our governing documents, that requires 2/3. And if there's something you want to table, if you think it just needs some more work, some more committee improvement, whatever that may be, you can always motion to table. However, whenever you choose to motion to table, it's really essential you say like by when. So
let's say we had AR 18 right now, and I just want to make sure everyone has more time to look at it. I would say, I want to, like Representative Holman, I motion to table AR 18 until like October 21st or whatever assembly day we're meeting on. And then by vote tie. And this also just requires a simple majority. Next. And then this, the first one's just, like approving the minutes. We're all familiar with that. Typically, like it'll be a representative who makes the motion, but this assembly is the speaker, but it's the same thing as long as there's a second. And then if we're confirming people, which I know we'll be doing next week, it's a motion to confirm and appoint someone to a specific office. And again, we've done this so many times, but for the new representatives, same template as always, your representative, your name, your position, the motion. So in this case, I move to confirm and appoint the name of said person and to the position of whatever they're going to occupy by unanimous consent, roll call, hand vote, whatever your heart desires. And then there's a motion to extend time. So like, let's say we're having this, intense Q&A period, everyone has more questions. We want to keep on, pressing the author, I guess. We just make a simple motion, name, position, move to extend by however much time, and then we vote time. Again, this is very repetitive. So the more you do it, the more familiar you'll be with it. And then our last two motions are a motion to recess. And essentially recesses are just a good opportunity to like have an informal discussion. You won't have to like have all these formal questions. You don't have to make motions to ask questions or extend. You can just talk as you please. But one thing I will note is on like a transparency side of things, the clerk, whenever we're in recess, the clerk doesn't write what's happening. So if you want something on the record, it's essentially you do it like during Q&A or in a debate. The last one is a motion to adjourn. This should be everyone's favorite motion. It just requires a simple majority. Essentially let us go home. Next up, we have point of order information. So essentially, a point of order will always take precedence over a motion. And essentially what this does is allows a representative to challenge the procedural or constitutional sections of a bill and or resolution. So what this will look like is once you make a point of order to contest something, you will come up to the front. So will the author of said bill or resolution, they'll speak to the parliamentarian, and then the parliamentarian will review our governing documents, Robert's Rules of Orders, and then they will make a recommendation to the speaker on what that should look like. But just a quick note, so like let's say you're introducing something and then the parliamentarian speaker are like, yeah, this is unconstitutional, or this doesn't follow the correct procedures, let's not move forward. The assembly has the right to appeal the ruling of the chair. So, and we're getting into like the small little niche things I hope we're not in at any point of this assembly, but essentially like there is a way to overrule whatever the parliamentarian speaker decide. And the second thing is a parliamentary inquiry. So if you're just like confused on like what stage we're at of the legislative process, if you don't know what you're about to vote on, if you think the speaker just forgot a crucial section like moving the previous question, you just make a point of parliamentary inquiry, and it just lets you ask the question to the speaker and then they'll answer it. But on a final note, like for parliamentary inquiries, you're not asking that to the author, you're asking that to the speaker. And that's it. I told you guys it was really simple and fast. If you have any questions, you can hit me up. I think by this point, this is just review for us. We got it. That's all.
All right. The speaker will claim the remainder of the time. Are there any?
Real quickly, if you want to review this, there might come in.
Are there any questions for the representative? Seeing none, thank you so much. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, sorry. Now we're doing open forum. So first up is our lovely legislative director result.
Hi guys, hope you guys are doing good. I think it was about 2 weeks ago I sent out a survey, so everybody could fill it out. Thank you so much for filling it out. I just wanted to go over the results in case you guys were curious. Some of the interesting things I will point out is that I had you guys vote on questions from 1 to 5. whether you agreed or disagreed, or how would you rate things. So people said that on average, assembly morale is about 2.5 out of 5. 3.2 out of 5, people feel motivated to work for SG, which is interesting that there is a gap between that. I feel like assembly meetings are productive. That was an average of 2.8 out of 5. Assembly values my time. That was an average of 2.6 out of 5. Assembly impacts our community. That is a 2.9 out of 5. And I feel valued as an SG member, 3.2 out of 5. I also asked the question whether people find SG as a priority. 25% of you voted saying that SG is not a priority of mine. 30% said that SG is a neutral priority, and then 35% said that SG is a very high priority. And I also asked whether, I asked the question, SG is lacking blank, and then asked you to fill it out. The top 3 things that people voted for are SG lacks apparent progress, SG lacks productivity, and SG lacks motivated and passionate members. I also want to go over, in case you guys, you guys are probably aware, but we can't start assemblies until we have 2/3 of all total reps present here, so that's 66%. And sometimes the reasons why we start late is because we can't meet that requirement on time. So there was like a comment saying, oh, we should have strict starting times. That is very difficult to implement if we don't have everybody here on time. I also went through an attendance report.
Okay. The chair, the speaker was saying during the time, is there any questions, Representative Plaza?
Representative Collazo, liberal arts, can you continue what you were saying?
Yeah, so I went through an attendance report, and this is just like general. On average, by the end of the meeting, we probably have about 75% of people here. So that's why it's a bit hard to start on time, because we don't meet that cap. The average attendance based on colleges is very different. 95% of people from COLA attend on average, 75% from business, 60% from natural sciences, 80% from communications, 70% from engineering, 70% from at-large graduates, and then UI is 88%, and then all the other ones, they're a bit difficult to do because they're only a single rep or two, so I don't want to kind of like call that out. So yeah, usually people are split into like 3 categories. There are like 12 people who attend 90% of assembly meetings, 17 people who attend 70 to 90% of assembly meetings, and then 11 people who attend less than 70% of assembly meetings. So that's it.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions? Yeah. How about you? Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you so much. Next up is Representative Whittington.
Hello. I know y'all very excited to see me, it's always good news for me, So a big thing I'm working on right now is trying to increase SG's outreach, more specifically on the assembly side of things. So exactly done a really good job with that, but we're working on making sure that we as assembly reps are more of a resource for other students. A lot of things we've been talking about currently is like working more with each like the college like councils, as like reps. There are reps that are in like their respective college council that can facilitate that relationship more to make sure that you're working with the people that you represent. I think that's very important. Oh, we made a survey to do like, a little SG, like meet the reps post style thing. It's gonna have it. I'll drop it in Slack later. You can put like, a fun fact, your name, you see, yada, yada.
I'll also add it to my student career slide, so if anyone's interested, they can just scan it.
And if you're interested in helping me and kind of like work on this, we try to increase assemblies outreach, and we try to increase our presence on campus. That is very important. We were elected to represent these thousands of people. We feel that it's very important that we're working closely with the people that we're not just here for resume checks,
Yeah, we have a couple of ideas. We're still in the works of like brainstorming, finding fleshing out the details, but again, if anyone's interested, feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Are there any questions for the representatives? Seeing none, thank you so much. Let's see if there's any other open forum speakers. There's one more. Representative Pena.
On? Okay, yeah. Yeah, just reporting back from parking and transportation. Thank you so much to Ben, who reached out to me and gave me a lot of incredible insights about parking and transportation committee. We've already met for the first time, and I will say, these are issues that we complain a lot and we recognize the issue with, but faculty do as well. There are representatives from faculty. They are complaining about the exact same things that we are. There's only about 5 voting members, 3 of which are students. So we have the potential to make genuine change on the committee. So please, once again, if you have any concerns related to parking, transportation policies, anything like that, please reach out to me. I want to bring those concerns to the committee. But yeah, thank you.
All right. Are there any questions for the representative? Seeing none, thank you so much. And I think that is, yep, all the open forum speakers that we have for this evening. Next slide. Quote of the week. So, quote this week, at the end of the day, we are all accountable to ourselves. Our success is a result of what we do, by Catherine Pulsifer. So maybe you can take something out of that. Next slide. Representative reports. First up is Representative Turgeon of University One.
Do I come up?
No.
Right. Representative Turgeon. So the report that I have, what have we done to so far? So the main initiative that I'm working on this year is the lift credit, which turned into the UP shuttle system initiative to provide rides to students to go to HEB. It's currently on a hold because Marcus is not here. Marcus just hasn't been meeting with me. Oh shit, it's recording. Anyways, yeah, so we're still figuring out a time, and hopefully that's gonna sell it soon. But UTSG is giving us the budget, so we have a budget of $1,000 to execute this, and then all I need to do is really write the job descriptions for the drivers, it's gonna be student drivers, and then we have the vans and everything. So it's really just figuring out who's gonna be driving those vans to HEB and kind of recapping the program. But that's the main thing I'm working on.
All right, thank you so much. Next up is Representative Hall. I don't think Rep. Hall's here this week. Okay, yeah, no. No. All right, Representative Wynn. Also not here this week, so okay, we'll move forward. Next slide. All right, new business. First up is, next slide. AR12, in support of the creation of a non-traditional student center, is the author or sponsor here. If you go to that microphone. Oh, yeah. Before we do that, the chair is going to recommend a 2-minute recess to do a guided caucus on the legislation. Is there a second? Second. Is there any objections? Seeing none, we'll take a 2-minute recess. Thank you.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will come back to myself.
So, do you know one? Yeah. Cosmo and David. Kevin, sorry. Without, yeah, see, we can't do that. We can't do that. No, never would I mean, yeah, all we're gonna do is.
The recent period
Okay, all right, thank you. We're coming back. So now, if we can go back to the slide, we're gonna begin with the introduction. Miss Lobby? Okay, you have 3 minutes, whenever you're ready.
So quick poll, just raise your hand if you started college when you were over 25 years old, if you're a parent, veteran, or totally 100% financially independent from your parents. Okay, so hi, my name is Lacey. I'm 31 years old. I'm an undergraduate biology major, and I'm also the only non-traditional student in this room. So before we get into legislation, I just want to talk to you all a little bit about my journey, how I got here, and why I'm here today. So the quick part of it is my transition to school at UT was rough. I didn't want to take up space in a traditional student space, so I stopped asking questions, didn't ask questions in class. I didn't go to study groups, and things like this really impacted me negatively, like across the board. It only took meeting one other student my age who put it real simply. She said, everyone deserves education, and that totally changed how I presented myself on this campus. So the premise here is that not everyone knows what they want to do when they're 18. They may go into the military, they may have a major life event happen that prevents them from starting right on time. And this legislation helps students like that. So AR 12, in support of the creation of a non-traditional student center. We already know that programs like this help through the TRIG programs. That's things that are for transfer students, and they have significantly helped graduation rates for non-traditional students. We already know that like the NEC and the GSC contribute immensely to the inclusivity of this campus, and this would add to that. We have tremendous support from the non-traditional student community. There's like 50 non-traditional students sponsoring this bill. We have support from the administration. And if I can read a few quotes, when I was getting sponsors, I asked optionally if they wanted to leave a comment. I got things like, as a student in your late 40s, it's difficult to connect with others like me, and it can feel very lonely. I feel pretty lost. I often feel like an outcast on campus. And this list goes on, and I have probably like 40 things that, like full on quotes like this. We already know what we need. We need a centrally located physical space that's kid-friendly, gives us access to each other, access to staff, and programming specific to non-traditional students, resources as well for non-traditional students. And we want a cemented place on this community. Okay, I really practiced that to get it under 3 minutes. So.
The speaker will claim the remainder of the time and we'll now move into Q&A. Are there any questions for the presenter? Representative Turgeman.
That's totally wide. How does this affect employment and those kind of stuff?
Yeah, so pregnant and parenting students are a big part of our demographic. And right now, the policy is that you cannot bring your kid to campus. So this means that if you want to go study in the library, like your kid can't be there. This would be a kid-friendly space. And I also would like to say that as of recent Supreme Court decisions and state policies, the university really needs to prepare for an influx of non-traditional students.
Any other questions? Representative Dexa.
Right, that's a transfer. Would you include international students and transfer students in the non-traditional category?
So yes and no, some very much feel like they're having their traditional college experience, but others, especially if it took them a few more years to get here than like entering right at 18 or 19, they are part of our group and identify as a non-traditional student. It's a really wide group, so it's hard to classify it all in a 3-minute speech too.
Representative Pena.
Brett Pena-Cola. First off, I really appreciate how thorough this is. Just one question I had. So with your talks with everyone, did you all have a place in mind of maybe where you envision this, anything like that?
Yeah, so right now we're operating out of the first year experience office on the 2nd floor of FAC. It's not like super ideal. My perfect space would be somewhere in this building. That's to be determined.
Representative Greenwald.
Just out of curiosity.
Can you use microphone? Yeah, people on Zoom.
Okay. Out of curiosity, have you reached out to the LLMs, the law schools? I'm sure they'd be interested as well.
No, I'm not sure. Sorry, I'm new to a lot of this.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Representative Tristan.
Thank you so much for the work you're doing. Would you be able to share some of the testimony you collected through your Google form?
Yeah. So let's see. Here's one. I recently returned to UT to finish my degree after being away for a very long time. I quickly realized how many things had changed and felt pretty lost trying to navigate the entire returning to school process with no UT's support. Since I was technically returning, there weren't the resources that new students have access to. Even though after being away for over 20 years, I was pretty much a new student as far as knowledge of the UT system was concerned. I found myself as a non-traditional student in my 40s, wishing there was something to set up to help people in my situation. Do we have time for more?
Are there any other questions? Representative Lujan.
Okay, Representative Lujan, University-wide. I'm just curious about the resources that you would need. Can you elaborate on that, or what resources would you like? What would you desire?
Well, so a lot of it has to do with just having a physical space to meet other people, because we're kind of like hiding in the shadows trying to blend in. So that's like, that space itself is so much more valuable than the real estate. In addition, I would like to have like more programs that are intended for non-traditional students, like to get into the honors program here, your application is based on what you did in high school. So if somebody did the military before they came to college, then they're apparently not eligible to be an honors student. So there's a lot of issues like that I think that having the presence here on campus, more than just like me and my email list, would help us have more sway with administration.
All right, the speaker is going to reclaim the remainder of time, seeing as there's like 17 seconds left. Is there any motion on the floor? Or any other additional questions? Seeing none, the speaker will return to time, and I will refer this to Student Affairs Committee. Thank you so much. Next up, is AB6, amending the SG Election Code and Constitution to enact the SG Election Reform Act of 2022. Before we start, we'll take a 2-minute recess. The chair recommends that. Is there a second? Is there any objection?
Objection.
Okay. The chair recommends a motion by hand vote to recess for 2 minutes regarding this legislation before we start. All those in favor, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. People on Zoom, please raise your hand. Or paper? 16, yes. Okay, everyone on Zoom, please lower your hands. Okay, all those in person that is against this, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. Okay, anyone on Zoom? Raise your hand. No? Okay. Those not in favor on Zoom? Nine against. Okay. Any abstentions in person? Okay, everyone on Zoom, lower your hand. Satish, are you abstaining? Anyone on Zoom, raise your hand to abstain. Okay. What's the tally? Okay. There being 16 yes, 9 no's, the motion carries. We'll recess for 2 minutes. That would not be we only have like 20 seconds, right? Okay. You have a second. Am I going to do this? Huh? Am I doing this? After 2 minutes, am I thinking? Is this your gavel? We're still. Oh, you're still. Oh, but this is nice. She poisoned this up. Not kidding. I hate this fucking chair so much. You're on He sent in the Slack in the summer. Yeah, in the summer. In the summer. Is this? Oh, it was on. Oh. Yeah, in the summer. He sent it out in the summer. Like it was a long time ago, so most people already forgot. Yeah. You got it? Yeah, fine. Actually, I never got a chance to look at this. Now all we're just waiting on is our jackets. Now, wait, tomorrow's the 28th, right? So it should be done tomorrow. Oh, shit. Good luck, Charlie. Oh, I love that show. All right, you're muted on Zoom, right? You are. Yeah. All right, we're about to get started. All right, so the authors for AB6, amending the SG Election Code and Constitution to enact the SG Election Reform Act of 2022. The authors and sponsors will have 3 minutes to present their legislation.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be on this side. Braxton can't be here today. Braxton's out, so Eco Walker just with me, so I'm introducing this. This is our Election Reform Act after the issues we saw in the last election. Those of you who ran understood how messed up that election was.
To say the least, people in COLA had their votes disenfranchised. People were campaigning in front of polling locations. There was a burden of proof issue with regards to the Murphy-Akbasi campaign with respect to ESB. So this is just a host of reforms and updates to our election code that I think would be good for us to have on the books, as well as ensuring that Senate, GSA, the entertainments and events, any board directors and board of trustees also follow these procedures as it relates to our election. So yes, SG election reform act. That's it.
The speaker will reclaim the remainder of the time. With that, we'll be entering our 5-minute Q&A period. Are there any questions? Representative Terjman.
That's really wide. I guess my question, it seems like the main change is that the general election will be held in February instead of the usual March. Do you think people will have enough time to go file and vote on?
Sorry, like that for the bill.
It's section 6, page 8.
Okay. Yeah, so part of the motivation for this was that the elections, like the student government elections, coincide with actual elections. And so it's confusing for students to, tell the difference between the two. And we don't want to hinder people voting in real elections. And so our motivation was that to move the election to this date so that they don't overlap as much. Being said to your question, is there going to be time for the Dean of Students Office to process that and get that all in? Well, we'll see if we pass it, we'll let them work it out. Of course, it's up to them.
Follow up?
Yeah. I think question was more like, will the students, because I know for me, like, I had to know about the election and then I had to pass election deals and like, I'm wondering if it will offer enough time for people to find out that they can run and then file and then run and conduct the whole 2-week campaign. Like why, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, the following period will still be the same. I believe the following period last time was like a month long. That's not changing. It will still be a month. It will just be, prior to that date. Of course, when filing opens, I believe an email sent out by the Dean of Students Office that goes to everyone. That will not change. The election timeline will also be on the Dean of Students website. That will not change. So yes, I think people want time.
Representative Whittington.
So would this change like when the term like ends and starts? You know what I mean? Because if they're elected in February, they should not take office until like late March.
This will not change our constitutionally mandated terms. It will still be the first Tuesday of April.
Any other questions? Representative Pena.
Representative Benny, Nicola, just quick question. At the opening of your speech, you mentioned that there was an issue of people campaigning in front of polling locations. Could you elaborate on that? Because I was under the impression that voting was on our phones or electronic.
Yeah, so the Dalek or the Bird Dog campaign was campaigning right in front of a polling location. They were outside the 50 feet line that's mandated by the state law, but they were still right in front of there and they were campaigning, electioneering right in front of where actual people who are running for office were doing the same. It creates this confusion. So in the new version here, we mandated to be, I think, 100 feet. So it's farther out from actual people who are actually running elections. So it does not create this confusion.
Any other questions? Representative Lujan.
Representative Lujan, university-wide. So you mentioned ESB. Sorry, I don't know who they are and what they do. Do you mind clarifying that?
Yeah, so they're the election supervisory board. They're the ones who oversee all campus-wide elections in February or in the spring.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, the speaker will reclaim the remainder of the time, and then I will refer this to the Rules and Procedures Committee.
All right, next slide. Thank you. is AR 13 in support of affordable housing bond in the city of Austin. Oh, thank you. Hold on. The chair recommends. This was on. The chair recommends a motion to recess for 2 minutes under guided caucus over this bill. Is there a second? Are there any objections? Seeing none, recess for 2 minutes.
Why do we keep recessing for 2 minutes? Can you just move on and go out? Just turn it off. Sorry? Can I object?
Oh, the vote will be next week because I have to send to me for them to look at it. So.
And my objection? That's all I got.
Speaker Roberts, do we have quorum? I know. I'll blame you.
Motion to end recess.
Is there a particular reason why you're having it?
Oh, yes. Seeing no objections. So moved.
This is what we've always done. This is what we've done. We would do a recess. We would under like breakout. Before we were on this, we would break out. This is weird. It's usually like. We can do 5 minutes if we want. All right. No, I have one. I just done this today. I told you I'll pay for it. I'll pay for it. So,
It's more expensive.
I'll pay for it. It's okay. It's okay. I'll take it out my stocks. That's not doing good anyway. Okay. Oh. Do you have a question, Adrian? Did you?
No.
Okay. All right, 3 minutes. Whenever you're ready.
In the upcoming election, starting October 24th for early voting, UT students will not only go to the ballot boxes and vote for a bunch of candidates, for a bunch of elected positions, but they'll also be electing a couple bonds for Oregon. One of those bonds is a City of Austin Proposition A, which raises money for affordable housing projects. I think the last 2018, 2014, 2016, they also did these bonds. So this is just a continuation of further housing projects here in Austin. In 2021, housing prices skyrocketed about 29%. So Austin is facing housing affordability crisis, and this bond will work to alleviate some of those concerns. Increasing affordable housing will not only allow low and middle income families to stay in Austin, but they'll also work to stabilizing housing prices in Austin, allowing UT students and recent graduates to stay in Austin, live here, and not have to commute. If anyone has any edits or if they'd like to sponsor the bill, reach out to me and I will add you to the sponsor list. Thank you.
And then really quickly, ultimately, this is a bill, or this is a bond that really does affect pretty much every Austinite here in the city, but especially students. For a vast majority of students, when the day they graduate, they kind of find themselves in a position where they have to make a very crucial decision of whether or not they are going to stay in Austin or not. And unfortunately, a lot of students are making that decision not to, because they simply cannot afford to live in Austin. We are facing a lot of issues with urban sprawl. We are getting farther and farther away from Austin. We are making places farther and farther away from Austin even more expensive. It is bonds like these that are going to help solve that issue, help lower the cost of housing, make sure that we can make this city affordable, not just for the super wealthy, but for students who just graduated and want to make a life here in the city. So strongly urge you to support this bill and to support the bond.
All right, thank you so much. Are there any questions for the representative, Representative Clausen?
Rep. Clausen, comments. How specifically does the bonds help affordable housing? Is it grants to increase supply, or is it subsidies to existing homeowners to pay the mortgages? How's it work?
Definitely, it's a mix of both. It includes grants for funding programs, also grants for buying land, and also grants for not only subsidizing housing, but also doing remodels and subsidizing some of the repair costs as well. And it's most of stuff.
And would the subsidies go to construction companies to build those homes?
Some of the subsidies would go to the people that develop the houses, yes.
So there's also a portion of the subsidies that are going to individual homeowners.
Any other questions? Representative Rogers.
Representative Rogers, CNS. So one thing that confused me about this proposition was the language about accruing land interests. And I was wondering if y'all understood this a little bit better than me. It seems like to pay back the bond, the city of Austin's planning to sell whatever they develop back to private landlords to pay back the bond. So I was wondering if you knew, I might be wrong, but can you explain that to me?
Definitely. This is something that I will look into. I know a lot more people are more knowledgeable about payback and all the finance issues than me. But this is one that's passed before by overwhelming measures. So I think this is something that the city of Austin and the UT students should approve of.
Any other questions? Seeing none, the speaker will reclaim the remainder of the time, and I'll send this to the Governmental Affairs Committee. Thanks much. All right, ex officio reports. Anyone from GSA external appointments, agency policy directors? No. All right, next slide. Dean of Students, Marcus, did you have anything you want to say?
Hello, can you hear me?
One second, Marcus. Can you
go to the audio? Yeah. No, wait. You go back to it.
Okay, yeah, Marcus, go ahead.
You said that you can't hear me?
We can hear you.
All right, well, good evening, everyone. Sorry I can't be there, but joining in by Zoom, obviously. Not a lot of updates. I did share some information with Kevin. So I imagine that he shared that with you all, but a few general updates just regarding governing document changes. There's some progress in at least moving those forward and getting a final approved set of documents with feedback from UT Legal. Still no specific timeline on when those will be final and approved, but the hope is that they are sooner rather than later. I'm hoping for in the next few weeks. That way those documents will be official and something that you all can know that there aren't any more changes, at least in this current process of the document changes, and able to move forward with more of the implementation and navigating through some of those questions, additional questions that you all have. One of the things that I did share with Kevin was regarding the, there was a question about the ethical guidelines that were removed. And the information that I shared with Kevin was that the Assembly did pass the, I believe it was AB 13, 14, 16 last year, but they had not gone through the administrative review and approval process. So they hadn't been officially approved and adopted into the documents. So they weren't removed, they just weren't incorporated into the changes during the summer. That doesn't mean that they're off the table. So there's still an option for those things to move forward, but they're not currently being reviewed to be incorporated into the governing documents. Currently just waiting for this current process to be completed. And then after that, any bills and recommendations that were from last year, recommendations from the summer, can be revisited and reviewed in line with the new changes to help determine what is or isn't still relevant. It may be everything as determined by you all. It may be some things, but there will be that opportunity. I shared with Kevin that it may be a good time and opportunity to reconvene the committee task force from this summer that you all convened to be able to be a part of that process of review and assessing and figuring out some of the additional short-term, long-term solutions to some of those bills and recommendations. Outside of that, I'll kind of leave it there. I know Kevin has information and will trickle down to you all, but appreciate you all having me, and hopefully next week I'll be there in person.
All righty, thank you so much, Marcus. Next slide. Executive board reports. First up is Advocacy Director.
Hello, so my name is Rachel. I'm the Deputy Advocacy Director. I'm filling for Izzy today. So our team recently completed a campus physical safety resources spreadsheet, which is linked on the slide. We also have a couple of meetings coming up. So this tomorrow at 3 p.m. we're meeting with the Associate Director of Transportation and Sherwalk Program Manager. We also have a meeting with the WEP Program Coordinator and PEDE Director on Friday. A correction to the slide, we actually have heard back from the UTSG Student Advisory Committee about expanding and improving student health resources, and we are currently in the works with setting up a meeting with them. Just a reminder about our initiatives master list and initiatives folder, which are linked on the slide as well. And our team is currently still working on our ongoing policy director.
All right, next slide. Communications Director.
Hi, everything on the first bullet point is what we're working on. Also, you can check our content calendar. Meeting tomorrow actually with the LSO advisors to hear their updates on the document that we gave them about what we'd like to see on the updated student government website. And also the staff meeting this Thursday. And this is a really good album that just came out by my favorite artists. And I also met Hillary Clinton this weekend, which is really cool. So yeah, that's all.
Admin Director.
All right, perfect. Oh, I'm sorry, refresh it. It's okay. Sorry about that. All right, let's see. So the upcoming Monday and Friday, the voter registration event. On the QR code on the right is the voter registration sign up. I know there are some VDRs in the room, so y'all can please sign up and help us register some people to vote for Monday and Tuesday. That'd be perfect. This is just an effort on behalf of student government to register people to vote and make sure that we're all registered to vote, so we can do a great job at the polls, if you know what I mean. Next up, UTSA will be meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. Women's Resource Agency will be meeting Thursday at 5 p.m. And the deliberations were amazing, and students are placed in their agencies. So I believe we have our internal branch, so that's really, really good. Again, the social calendar is on the left, so make sure that you scan that so you can see what's going on, whether that's our agency meetings or overall social sources of government. Again, like I said, I'll be providing a pack for Student Heritage Month each week, so, you know, take a quick read, guys, take a quick read. Okay, perfect. Make sure the stream's designed by Lauren Hill.
Everyone, I'm just gonna go sorry, Kevin. 2-minute timer. So for sake of transparency, executive board, minutes were always available on my comprehensive notes there. So I'm gonna bring to assembly from now on. It's gonna be like really geared towards you guys. So please give me the full 2 minutes because I do have some really important announcements today specifically. So firstly, class meeting workshop on Friday. There are only 2 slots remaining. If you are a committee vice chair, I highly recommend signing up. All committee chairs have either signed up or have already signed a stipulations letter, so you can ask them to help you out with funding stuff. Next, Senate's non-traditional student scholarships. We were just talking about how it placed, SG can support, non-traditional students. They define it as, if your student parent, first gen, international, over 25, external transfer, or veteran students. Those applications close on Sunday, October 2nd, 11 p.m. Please spread that as far as you can. We really want to make sure that we're reaching all the right communities. Along with that is our carry-on scholarship, which opened yesterday. That link is in our social media bios. It's currently enrolled in grad students who have completed 1 full semester at UT and has a minimum GPA 2.5, except for any appointed or elected student government officials. So all of you guys, but please make sure that you guys are helping us with this outreach. We want to make sure that money is the #1 way we can support our students, and you guys make sure that spreading that is really important to us. Thank you.
Next up is Chief of Staff.
What's going on, everyone? Okay, so as Zion alluded to, we did get our new members for student government, and they're all placed in their agencies. So this Sunday, we had our first interorganizational general meeting. I am going to be leading those going into the future, but I had the opportunity of co-leading them with Isabel this Sunday, and I think it's going to be great. Just a final reminder, I'm just going to keep plugging this, but if you haven't already picked up your SG t-shirt, come see me as soon as possible. We're giving those out to our new members too, so they're flying off the shelves. We have no more smalls, but a new order is going to be coming in soon. I've been currently working with agency co-directors on solidifying, reserving, and confirming groups for their meetings and events this semester. I'm also working with the Voices Against Violence to hold a workshop with the executive board, and to even extend it to holding a workshop with the IOGN and our LT. That does not mean that y'all cannot come to those meetings to also participate in those workshops. I also looped in our advocacy director, Izzy Richards, on that email and have opened the door for VAV to give us any events, initiatives that they see SG working with them in the future and how we can better support them to make campus a safer place. And then just today I sat on the second UI committee, and that's the rec sports committee. And we finally had our first meeting today. It went great, and the notes are already in Google Doc. Again, my office hours are right there. So if you need to have a meeting with me or get a hold of me, this is a great avenue to ensure that I have this. Thanks.
Vice President.
Hi, everyone. So some updates. We're finishing up the Central Texas Food Bank College Food Access Grant. Is something that we're working on with the Associate Director of Development, but we're hoping to submit that soon to help expand the community food distribution. I got invited by the LBJ Student Vice President to speak about civic engagement, so I did, and Benno happened to be there, but I made sure to highlight of the vote, of course. I was talking with the Food and Security Action Team Chair about institutionalizing that ad hoc, because if y'all don't know, that ad hoc has existed for 2 years and done some really good work in terms of documenting food security on campus. But just to talk about their longevity and really solidifying their place in student government. I met with the EC for EC founder an hour ago, just talking about the proposal, which we've been working on all summer, basically since March, but that is almost ready to be to students, and that was legislation that was passed before the summer, if I will remember. We're meeting with this Campus Environmental Center Green event about compostable products for student government events and then just in general, so that's great. In terms of our Outpost collaboration, we are focused this next month on increasing awareness. And so that's probably gonna be some kind of social media campaign. So if anyone wants to be in on that, let me know. We're also kicking up the Student Business Empowerment Initiative that was started last year with the co-op. And so more details on that will be rolled out on Instagram, and I now have an office hour link. So that's there. It'll be a QR code, so it's easier. But if you want to talk about like DI initiatives, SSBC or things like that, and sign up for a meeting. Next slide. So Leland is going to be out for this week because of a personal emergency. And so ever since Friday, I've kind of been taking lead. Please do not contact him in respective space. If you need anything, direct everything to me. And if you reach out to him, he'll just direct it to me. But I think we just need to respect his space right now. But things like he did, he organized the agency reveal, and that was great. He also attended the UT System Student Advisory Council, so that's what the presidents go to of all the UT schools. And he also was working on the monthly food distribution that's solidified on October 14th. That's going to be in collaboration with the college council. We're trying to see if we can also have free academic resources, but if you want to participate in that, at the last distribution, Kevin and Gerald and other reps were there. Please let us know. There's a Slack channel, so you can join that. And so when we get more details on that, you can sign up and participate, because the last one, it was pretty successful. We want to make it bigger and better each time. I know Gerald was talking about like an assembly line or something, but you know, cool ideas. And yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. We'll move forward with Assembly Board reports. First up is rules and procedures.
All right, hello, everyone. Real quickly, we'll be meeting this weekend to discuss 86. If you're my committee, we'll be meeting Saturday at 6 p.m. So if you don't want to meet on a Saturday, then fill out the form. It's in the committee. I'm open to meeting whenever, as long as you guys tell me what time works for you. So otherwise, we'll be meeting in person, but there'll be a Zoom option available. And again, this also counts towards your attendance. This goes towards all committees. So upcoming initiative. So I'm not sure if y'all noticed, but like y'all know that little intersection between like the co-op and then the union, how there's that like, it's on WAD, right? It's like a 25-30 second like passing time, and like I don't know about y'all, but in the mornings, like there's just so many students, like not everyone can make it in time. There's like barely any cars. So to me, I just don't think it's efficient. I'm always like seeing people wait like 2 minutes to cross the street. There's barely cars. So I'm going to be trying to reach out to people within the city who have jurisdiction over that, just to see like what can we do about that. I understand like in the afternoons, like when there's like heavy traffic, it makes sense. But in the morning, they're just students trying to get to class. So if you're interested in like working with that with me, just let me know. I would create a survey, you know, do like a really formal presentation and stuff like that. So again, just feel free to reach out to me if you are interested.
Okay. Academic affairs.
Yeah, so we had our first meeting of the semester last weekend. It went really well. We discussed the possibility of bills that we'd see this semester, and we also discussed academic film. Same thing as always around Slack notifications, and then we're going to be able to see if we can have Rep. Holland come and talk on the criminal justice matter at the next meeting. So that's it.
Financial affairs. Vice Chair, do you have anything? Do you have anything for your committee update or?
Just what's on the slide. Some special projects. Lots of money to that.
All right, next slide. Governmental affairs.
Yes, so governmental affairs, we're essentially, Ian, Brett, Colmack have already outlined some of the bills that we're gonna start writing. So hopefully begin advocating for next semester when the state legislature comes into effect. The main one that we're looking at right now, state of Texas registration is incredibly difficult. So we want to push that the state of Texas adopt measures that allow same-day voter registration on election day, much like many other states. Online voter registration, so you don't have to find a VDR, go to the courthouse, go to the DMV, get registered. And there was a very important one, same day. Yes, there's a third piece, can't remember, but yes. There's a meeting this week, we got to sign legislation a few minutes ago. So we'll be meeting this week, I'll put out a message for that. But if you're interested in anything regarding voter registration legislation, please reach out to us.
Student affairs.
Hi, everyone. So if you haven't filled out the Wednesday meet already, I'll be checking. You're going to have a meeting as soon as I try to get that scheduled before next Tuesday, just because like we have AR 12 to kind of look over. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just be sure to fill out the Wednesday meet, and again, if you're interested in the icon, be sure to scan the QR code.
All right, I'll be really quick because Marcus kind of covered a lot of what I was going to say anyway. Isabel, members of Senate leadership and GSA leadership will be meeting with them, DOS on Monday, to talk about the governing documents and any of its implementation within the three branches or within the three LSOs, sorry. So yeah, of course, what Marcus said is also what I was going to add, so I won't touch on that. Follow us on social media, follow us on YouTube. Or subscribe to us on YouTube. We upload all this stuff there. First year representatives are Cosmo, I don't know his last name, but it's Cosmo something. He follows us on Twitter already on the SG page. And then as well as Kevin Wynn also follows us on the SG page. So they'll be sworn in next week, as well as our LLAs. So we have a lot of freshmen coming into our assembly. Please treat them with kindness, respect. Emphasis on kindness and respect. Again, emphasis on kindness and respect for people not listening. Just want to emphasize it. I don't want them to be tormented like the LLAs were last year with the impeachment. So yeah, I'm setting up a meeting with the UTPD regarding the emergency alert notification. So that's in the works. I'll keep y'all apprised of that. Rizal and I are working on attendance, so that's something we'll continue to work on. I think we can release the report to the Slack if anyone wants to see it, right? Yeah, so we can do that. And then we're also working on college affordability. I know I need to reach out to you right about that. And something you will like, there will be no assembly meeting on November 8th. That is election day. I'm encouraging all of y'all to go vote. So we will not be meeting that day. So you guys have a heads up on that. For those of you who went to Texas Tribune Fest, it was a lot of fun. We saw a lot of people. I got a photo with Alex Moffett from SNL with Brian and James. It was a lot of fun. Carrie saw Hillary Clinton. We saw a lot of good people. So I recommend y'all go next year. But that's all I have. Next slide. Representative shout out is here. Please fill that out if you want to shout someone out. Please fill out the anonymous feedback if you have any anonymous feedback. The shout out for this week is Representative Sinathambi, which was nominated by Representative Whittington. Do you want to explain why?
Oh.
Microphone, because she's on turn.
You know, dealing with our nonsense last week, maybe she just looked so stressed. And she thought I was joking about doing it. I was very serious. But shout out to her for being, I think my exact words were smiling face in a long meeting. Is she here?
She's on.
With that, great. Okay.
All right, next slide. These are some mental health resources. Please utilize them if you need them. Please make sure to take care of yourselves. That's very important. Next slide. Any announcements? Anyone have any announcements? Next slide. Second roll call. We're about to end at 8:15, an hour and 15 minutes. Sounds like link to it. That's a link to it.
By the way, I remember the third point, it was automatic voter registration.
You said that.
I did.
Yeah, I think it was online. Was that your third point? Automatic.
I said all.
Was it online logo? Yeah, that was when you did that. It's okay.
Just so y'all know, for those of y'all who are on executive board and AV board, we have a meeting afterwards, so please stay for that. That'll be 30 minutes, no longer 30 minutes, because I will be leaving 30 minutes. Not yet. Any objection to me closing the attendance form? Next slide. The chair recommends a motion to adjourn by unanimous consent. Is there a second? Is there any objections? Seeing none, we're adjourned. See y'all next week.
What's wrong with this photo?
Stop the recording.